From the 22 News Plus studio, this is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of In Focus. I am your host, Patrick Berry. There are so many great things going on in the Springfield area, but we need to tell the world about it. That's why I have invited Mary Kay Wydra. She's the president of Explore Western Mass here into the studio today to talk about what her organization does in promoting the greater Springfield, Western Mass area to the rest of the world. Mary Kay, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Patrick.
Explore Western Mass is a new name, isn't it? It used to be something different. Explain that.
So we are technically the Greater Springfield Convention and Visitors Bureau, but we promote the region as Explore Western Mass. And we do that primarily because it matches up with our social channels. Like our website is Explore Western Mass.
We
put a real big emphasis on Springfield when it comes to meetings and conventions, obviously with a convention center there. But for the most part, we're saying Western Mass, and it's resonating with visitors.
So what you and your folks do at Explore Western Mass is basically entice people who aren't from here to come here to do different things.
Exactly. We're a destination marketing organization.
Okay.
Different than a chamber of commerce. I tend to think of chambers as marketing business to business. We do business to consumer. And our consumers, we have several different kinds we're trying to reach. Think of people on vacation. We call those our leisure visitors. Yeah. We want them to come and see all the great things we have. We want motor coach tour operators to come into the region and stop and see some of the tour-friendly attractions, and not all of them are. You have to have certain things in place for tours. We want meeting planners. We love our meeting planners because when you think about a meeting planner, you're convincing one person or maybe a site selection committee of 2 or 3 people who have the ability to bring hundreds, if not thousands of people here. And when those people come, we love them because we try to convert them. They're coming for a business purpose. If we do our job right, we've whet their appetite. They want to come back and be that leisure visitor.
Okay.
The other type of consumer we're looking for is the sports organizer. We have a tremendous history of sports with volleyball and basketball being invented here. And bringing sports organizers, tournaments, the Ironman competition that we were successful in bringing. Again, you pick that location. One, a small group of people or an individual might select the location, but then hundreds of thousands of people come. And youth sports are big, and sports and leisure really pulled us out of COVID. Sports in particular. And then finally, we have international visitors. We have the airport at Bradley International Airport.
It's just a short drive away,
Absolutely.
Which is fantastic.
20 minutes. I live in downtown Springfield. I can be from baggage to my living room in 20 minutes. They've got the direct flight now on Aer Lingus that kind of opened up
all of Europe
to us with the connecting flights that they offer and everything. So, and Puerto Rico, we just, we've put a push on Latino visitors given our heritage here in Springfield and Holyoke and Chicopee. So
it's funny, as we're having this conversation, I'm thinking about locations where people can gather for large events. And the one that comes to mind, probably everybody's mind, is the Mass Mutual Center. But there are other spots that people utilize, right?
Yeah, so we're really fortunate that we have a state-of-the-art convention center right in the heart of downtown Springfield, and then right across the bridge, a mile away, we have the Eastern States Exposition, which is a campus of buildings.
It's funny you mentioned the Eastern States. I always forget about how active those grounds are outside of the 2.5 weeks that we know in September.
Yeah.
I want to say
52 weeks a year.
There's something going on there every
They've got
weekend.
Stuff going on. Absolutely.
And people come from everywhere to those.
Yeah, and they're like really diverse types of programming, whether it's a camping show, a bridal show, a lot of dog shows, agricultural. The fair is first and foremost about agriculture.
Right.
Gene Cassidy, who happens to be the chairman of our board, will tell you that was a focus. So, you have, like I said, you have the state-of-the-art convention center. And then you have another campus-like property with multiple buildings. The East Tech Society of Manufacturing Engineers, that trade show is held every other year. They bring large pieces of equipment. They need a really solid foundation. So we have that facility. We also have the Mullen Center up in Amherst. And then we are also blessed with some hotels that have quite a bit of meeting space, where you've got the Marriott and Sheraton and
Right here in
and
downtown,
MGM. MGM's got lovely meeting space as well. So we have the facilities that meeting planners need, and our job is to tell them that it's here and showcase it to them.
But that hasn't, or let me rephrase it. Has that always been the case, that there are the spaces and places here, but the message may not have gotten out to the right people? Or has it always just sort of been kind of a known thing that maybe I just didn't know about, the industry or the business of conventions?
Yeah. So my understanding is the Convention Bureau in Springfield dates back to like the 1950s.
Oh, wow.
And so there's always been a group focused on it. We've had the Springfield Civic Center went offline, if you remember, way back. It was offline for 5 years as they built what we know now as the convention center.
Right.
There was always an arena, but there wasn't a lot. They had an exhibition hall, which is now, I remember the X Hall, and it's now the loading dock. So we really enhanced that building, and then we've always put a push on leisure. Group tour, we became a real destination for group tour when, like I said earlier, you have to be able to host a certain number of people. Usually a coach has 50 people. They need to get off. They need to park the coach on asphalt. They don't.
It's a lot of logistics.
It's a lot of logistics. They want to eat together. They want to do the tour together. Not all of our attractions can accommodate tours. It's also the segment that with COVID really took a hard hit, because think about it. We were told not to get together. You're sitting in a bus with 50 people. That wasn't a good mix. It also really hurt that industry in the sense that a lot of the tour operators are family-owned businesses, and getting through COVID without tours financially was a hardship. So, we still have them. We haven't put as big an emphasis. There's a lot of attractions that do a great job. Bright Nights welcomes them. They have them arrive early. The Eastern States gets coaches. Yankee Candle, so there are some still in play.
We have a lot more to talk about, so stay with us. We're right back after this commercial break.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of In Focus. Mary Kay Wydra, the president of Explore Western Mass, is across the desk from me. Thank you again for joining me. Greatly appreciate your time.
Happy to be here.
It's funny. We talked the bigger picture in the first part of this conversation about getting the awareness of Springfield to other parts of. I mean, we all know what's here. We all know the Hall of Fame's here. The museums are here. But a lot of people who, even as close as Albany or Worcester, Providence, they may not know all the great things that happen here. And I look at like those nearby markets as sort of the low-hanging fruit. How do you get in touch with people? How do you pitch people from, like, say, Baltimore or Buffalo? I'm not going to use all the B towns, but Baltimore, places that are maybe a little bit further away to encourage them to come here?
The short answer is we don't.
Okay.
We don't have a budget that is big enough to allow us to go into those further domestic markets. We fish where our research shows that people are willing to come into our market from.
Okay.
So we're putting our advertising in Boston, a huge group that will travel west 90 miles. We're down in, New York is a big market for us.
Okay.
New York media markets are really expensive, though. Boston media markets are expensive.
Absolutely. So, New York's number one. Boston's in the top 10.
So, the beauty of our location is that we're smack dab in the middle of them. But the downside is the cost of reaching those audiences. Right. But we've managed to do that. We also, Providence is another feeder market.
Okay.
And we do a lot of digital advertising. Social media is huge, right. Our Instagram, our Facebook, our TikTok, all of those channels. And we're primarily driving people to our website because our job is to tell them that we're here. come visit. There's a lot to do. We want them to stay longer and spend more money in our region. And the way we do that is by telling them that, oh, you might be coming for Six Flags, but did you know 40 minutes up the road, you can be at Yankee Candle? And
Right.
oh, you've got to do that too. And in between, there's the Eric Carle Museum and the Springfield Museums and, the Basketball Hall of Fame, Volleyball Hall of Fame. So our job is really to connect all the dots for the visitor and hope that they will see a lot and do a lot while they're here.
One of the things I think we have a unique advantage here is, and you kind of touched on it briefly, is we're not far from a lot of great things. So people can come here and do a convention. Maybe your business comes here from New York or Boston, does a convention, somewhere locally. But then, you do a quick trip up to Yankee Candle. You want to go skiing, Berkshire East or, Southern Vermont is not far from here.
Just had that conversation this morning with a legislator talking about having conventions. It's oftentimes we will be asked, we'd like to spend a day in Boston. So that's an easy trip to put together for them. The Newport Mansions we're close to. So we call that hubbing and spoking. The hub is Springfield or Western Mass. We want them to stay here. We want them to meet here. But if they want to do a trip out to the Berkshires or a trip down to Newport or
Edith
Boston,
Wharton,
go
all those
skiing,
places,
we can coordinate that. But the ease of access. So I always say that, we promote the region talking about our affordability. We offer great value. We can beat rates in those other communities, certainly a Boston or a New York.
Oh, absolutely.
We offer.
It's easier to get around out here.
It's very easy. The intersection of 90 and 91, like truly the crossroads here in New England, very convenient and very little traffic. Like we as Western Mass people, we really don't know traffic, do we? I mean,
my commute from Westfield every day. I get annoyed that it takes me 27 minutes instead of 24.
Right. Instead of saying 2 hours, maybe somewhere else. But so affordability, the accessibility, and then the abundance of attractions and lots of things to do. We have outdoor attractions like Six Flags and Berkshire East with zip lining, but then maybe it's not a beautiful day and you can't do that. We've got lots of museums to discover, indoor things to do, go-karting, and we've got shopping. We truly have something for everyone.
So you mentioned early on when we first started the conversation that there's been a convention bureau, for lack of a better description, for about 70 years or so. Yeah. How has it changed?
Just in my career, I've seen a lot of change.
Well, okay. Let me ask. When did you start with the GSCVB?
My background, I started in 1988.
Oh, wow.
And I started as the receptionist. And within 6 months, I was promoted to become the convention services coordinator. Our office was in the old Springfield Civic Center. And so my job was to service the convention groups that were coming in. There was a lot of turnover. The leader left at that point. I also left for 15 months. I worked for Claire Demore at Big Y.
Okay.
And the Demore family was buying up a lot of supermarkets in Connecticut and other places. So I did grand openings and coloring contests and got a lot of great skills, but I really missed tourism. I missed the job. I mean, I feel like I go to work, but it's such a fun job. No day is ever the same. And really, when you think about it, we're helping make people's lives easier, whether you're a parent planning a vacation, a meeting planner planning the convention. We're here to help and make it easy. So I was gone for 15 months and I was fortunate enough to go back and I became the president of the organization. I think it was 2000 or 2001. I don't even remember. So I've been doing it a long time. I've seen the landscape for tourism change dramatically. And I think two pivotal things happened. One was when Six Flags, as we know it now, it became Six Flags. It was Riverside family owned. And then all of a sudden, a brand that people recognized was put in Agawam. Right. And an investment was made in the park. And at that point, we saw a lot of limited service hotel properties popping up. You have the Holiday Inn Expresses, the Hampton Inns. Those are great for a region. So again, I talked about affordability. It's one of the reasons we are affordable. Mom and dad going on vacation, knowing that the room includes breakfast, it might make a difference in staying an extra night, So we saw that change. And then the convention center turning around and, really building out convention space that we could use. And then, of course, MGM coming into the marketplace with a massive project. We saw more hotel growth as a result of that. So it has changed in terms of marketing. So before I became the president, I really was the associate president. I was really focused on marketing and communications. I tell my VP of marketing now I could never do her job. It is so digital focused, so social media focused.
It's a different job.
That has changed. Yeah. We were I think we beat Boston. Way back in 1996, we launched our first website. And that was, like a monumental thing. Yeah. It was cutting edge at the time. Now, that website is our most important tool as far as getting information out to people.
Fantastic. We are up on our second commercial break. We're flying. So we will be right back. Stay with us.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of InFocus. I am your host, Patrick Berry. Sitting across from me today is the president. Wrong button. There we go. Is the president of Explore Western Mass, Mary Kay Wydra. Mary Kay, thank you so very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
We talked a lot about the organization, what you do, to promote to neighboring communities, Boston, Providence, Hartford, New York, and so forth. But there's one big event you do each year that really recognizes the great people that work here. Tell me about the Howdy Awards.
Yeah, so the Howdy Awards are on the 29th year of recognizing outstanding frontline service. So we are a third-tier city in terms of our region.
What's that mean, third tier?
Well, in terms of size and recognition, you put Boston, New York, Miami, LA, then you've got places like maybe Nashville and Oklahoma City and San Antonio. And then you come down to the Worcesters, Albanys, Springfields,
that makes sense.
And a lot of it's population base and everything. So we need every advantage we can to sell our region. And we want, when people come in, if we're doing our job right to get them here, we want them to come back. And one of the easiest ways to do that is by treating them really well. You want to go back. When people remember your name and remember your drink order and all that, and you get good service, you feel good. You walk away and you tell people about that great service. We have frontline service providers who in our industry are often the least paid, but make the biggest difference in terms of a first impression.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? They can make or break
every
a visit.
Hotel, restaurant,
absolutely.
Every time you interact with somebody at a store.
Right. So we, as an organization, almost 3 decades ago, said we need to recognize these people and give them the love and the recognition that they deserve as being part of this tourism team taking care of guests. So every year we do an event. It's usually in the spring. It's the last Monday in April this year. I believe it's the 27th. And we are going to, again, recognize people in food categories, beverage, attractions, transportation, and so forth. We bring in 3 judges from outside the area. There is absolutely no bias in picking these individuals. If they know somebody within the finalists that they're reviewing, they recuse themselves. I've never had that happen because we do reach and get people from Albany or Boston or Cape Cod to come out. We have a great committee that the committee selects the finalists. Our nomination process is a rolling one, so it's all year. And what I do, and Patrick, I would suggest people listening do, if they have a good experience, take out your phone, put a note, the date of the encounter, just remind yourself, then go to explorewesternmass.com. You'll see the Howdy logo, click on the icon, and it takes you right to a nomination form. tell us.
And you can nominate at any point during the year.
You can nominate anybody. Okay. You can nominate a coworker. If you see somebody do something incredible, maybe somebody's dropping off a toy or coming in for an interview, and you witness that. We love it when the guests are telling us,
right?
But we look for supporting documentation, and that night is truly like the Oscars. There's over 500 people. People dress up for it, and these are folks that are typically the ones.
Do the people know they've been nominated?
They
so
know,
it's not a surprise.
Yes, they know they're notified if they become a finalist. Okay. We get hundreds of nominations, so every nomination you don't get told that you've been nominated. But if the committee selects you as a finalist, you are told. And then we're looking for supporting documentation from your supervisor, anything to strengthen what the judges call through as they go through the process of judging. And we keep those names under lock and key. And that night we have presenters in each of the categories. We've got tremendous sponsors for that event. And that's part of my job, is to secure the sponsors. And I have to say, it's a pretty easy ask. If somebody's been to the event, you just feel so good that you're making these folks feel like rock stars.
And you bring up a very good point. It's the service industry workers, for the most part, who may not get a lot of recognition otherwise, but it shows how valuable their services are.
Yeah, a lot of them have to work holidays and hotels don't close, right? 24/7, somebody's on a night shift. It's at times it can be trying to keep the smile on your face and everything, but we want to know about those people that go above and beyond and really do a great job.
Fantastic. All right, let's switch gears. We've only got a couple minutes left of the website. So explorewesternmass.com is the website.
Explorewesternmass.com. We have a great calendar of events. There's always something happening to do, or, you can do something happening. Our restaurants are on there. Attractions are on there. The Howdy nomination form is on there. There's a lot there. There's a lot of blogs that have been written, some itineraries. Strongly encourage people to visit explorewesternmass.com.
It's interesting. There's a term out there called a staycation. It sort of evolved, I think, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, but now we all use it. Hey, what are you doing this year? Oh, I'm doing some staycations, right? It sounds like the website is a good resource if folks at any point during the year don't really want to pack up and fly somewhere, but they want to maybe see something they haven't done right around the corner.
Yeah, we're all tourists in our own backyard on weekends.
Right.
We don't, every weekend you're not going to fuel up the tank and drive somewhere, but locally there's so much to see and do. So again, whether you're a local or a visitor, get on that website, check out the calendar of events. There's fun things happening all the time, regardless of the weather and regardless of the time of year.
It's year round, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, we keep putting more information into it. And, if local people want to stay on a staycation, the hotels are prominently featured and they could check into a stay, just go to the next town over. I've done it. I've gone up and stayed. I took my niece and nephew, bitter cold night in December a couple years ago, indoor pool, spent the night, went to the movies. I went to the D Hotel.
Oh, okay. Right. Is that Northampton or Holyoke?
In Holyoke.
It's right on the line,
That's
right?
in Holyoke.
Okay.
Yep. And my niece and nephew were young and they loved it because it was, fun. I think it was December 28th and bone-chilling temperatures, and we were jumping in a nice hot tub and a pool and everything. So
fantastic, Mary Kay. I can't thank you enough for coming in today.
Happy to be
telling
here.
us all of. I learned a lot about Explore Western Mass. So thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Good seeing you.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.